Hey guys, today we're checking out a ISA sound card for DOS. This one is from BTC, model number 1820, and it's got the Mozart chip. Now if you name your audio chip Mozart, well, it sets the expectations, so let's find out what this sound card can do. Big thank you to Electromind for supplying us one of these sound cards. They still have stock. I'll put a link down below in the description, including a 20% discount coupon. Pricing is a little bit on the high side, so make sure you watch the entire video to make a good decision. Let's start with the highlight of the sound card. We've got an authentic Yamaha OPL3 FM chip here, so let's listen to a few games. So that sounded excellent. If you're into authentic FM music, then this sound card will definitely deliver. But look at that, right next to the FM chip, we've got some interesting writing on here. It talks about an OPL4, and we can see there are two connectors here. This lets you upgrade the sound card with an OPL4. However, that upgrade module is not included, and good luck finding one. It's going to be very hard to track one down. The other issue is the OPL4 is not connected through a MPU401 MIDI interface. In fact, this sound card does not have an MPU401 MIDI interface. This means the OPL4 module will not work in DOS at all. In fact, you can't connect a wavetable module, you can't hook up a Roland Sound Canvas either. So this sound card, think of it like a good old Sound Blaster or Sound Blaster Pro, which does not have a real MPU401 MIDI interface. And here we're taking a closer look at the Mozart chip. So this one is made by Oak, the OTI 601, and this one handles the Sound Blaster compatibility. Let's listen to two games that usually point out any issues with the DMA clicking bug.
I'm thirsty.
I don't think you should drink that. It looks bad for you.
Nonsense. It makes me feel great. Smarter. More aggressive. I feel like I could. Like I could. Like I could. Take on the world.
So that didn't sound too bad. Day of the Tentacle sounded quite decent, to be honest, but in Prince of Persia the footstep sounded a bit off, and you could definitely pick out a few clicking sounds. On paper, and looking at the Set Blaster environment variable, this sound card should be Sound Blaster Pro compatible, which means stereo, so let's check out a few games.
0, 0, 0.
So unfortunately, it does not seem like this sound card is stereo compatible. So in terms of Sound Blaster compatibility, it's best to think of this as a good old Sound Blaster with mono sound. And the second major audio chip is the analog devices, 801848KP. Under Windows, this handles all the digital output. It does 48 kilohertz and all of that. And under DOS, this provides the Windows Sound System compatibility. There's a tool that you need to run to switch between Sound Blaster and Windows Sound System mode. So let's check out 2 games and how that sounds.
0, 0, 0.
So if your game supports the Windows Sound System standard, then this card works well, crystal clear audio, and we're getting proper stereo. If you're looking for a sound card to drive your CD-ROM drive, this card has you covered. It supports the Sony, Mitsumi, Panasonic, as well as the standard IDE interface. Here we have 2 audio headers. You can connect your CD-ROM audio cable coming from your optical drive here. And from your motherboard, you can connect the PC speaker output into the buzzer input. And here we can see all the inputs and outputs. Speaker, that one is amplified to connect passive speakers. Out is the line out signal. We've got a line in and the microphone input. And this is a game port, so you can hook up a joystick or gamepad. But on this sound card, no MPU4 or 1 MIDI interface, so you cannot connect a Roland sound canvas, for example. Compatibility with games is pretty good. In Descent and in Turrican 2, you can use Windows Sound System mode to get stereo. In Duke Nukem 3D and Epic Pinball, unfortunately only mono. Duke Nukem 2, no sound effects because it doesn't support the ADPCM codec. And Space Quest 1 VGA, the sound effects wouldn't work. So here we only got ad-lib sound effects. Okay guys, here we are in DOS. So we're gonna have a look at the drivers and the software. Now, there are lots of driver versions actually floating around, and every card seems to like a different driver. This card is from BTC, so you can just go to the BTC website and download the drivers, but even they have different versions. Now, I uploaded all the drivers I found onto our website, so you can download them and see which one works for you. You can put them on a floppy disk and install it from there, but the easier way is just to copy it into the C/Mozart and run it from there. There's an install executable, and off we go. So we're just going to follow the prompt, and here we can change the resources. I'm going to change the interrupt to 7. Everything else I'll leave default with the game port enabled and the CD-ROM set to none. Let's press OK. We get a warning that interrupt 7 might have an issue with the printer port, but that's fine. I'm not using a printer. Here we can test the sound card. Just gonna set the volume to around here. So let's check the FM sound. And the digital sound.
Sound check.
Okay, that's all ready to go.
Sound check.
Let's click on continue. Press OK, and it's gonna update the config.sys and autoexec batch file. It makes backups of the old files with the mzt ending, and we're just gonna reboot our machine.
Sound check.
Okay, so that's all ready to go. Now we can see here, it loads a little TSR driver with some shortcuts for volume, but they actually didn't really work for me. And if we look at the memory, how much memory is that using? 3K. So you might just kicked it out from the autoexec batch file. So let's quickly do that. And there it is. We're just going to remove that line. You can also load it into the high memory area if that's what you want to do. So let's have a look at some of the other tools. There is a Mozart panel. Let's load that. And then it's another TSR tool, Control-Alt-P. We get a little mixer. And here we can change the volume of FM, Wave CD. Now that really didn't work for me, to be honest. In general, the mixer software is quite weak. I was hoping for some tool where you can just put it in the autoexec batch file. Even if you mute the FM and you go in a game, you still hear FM, so that's it's not really working that well. The other important tool is MZT mode. That lets you switch to Windows Sound System mode. now you've got a Windows sound system. So you have to switch between the two, between Sound Blaster and Windows Sound System. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. And there's some other tools to test your card and do all sorts of other things. But that's pretty much it. So the drivers are, it's fairly straightforward. You just run, copy it into the Mozart folder, run install. The hard part is finding the correct driver for your card. But like I said, I uploaded them all to the website. You might just have to try it a few until you find one that works for your card. So let's wrap up this video. What do I think? Well, firstly, the highlight is definitely the FM quality. We're getting an authentic Yamaha OPL3. Unfortunately, that's really the only main highlight, maybe the support for all the CD-ROM standards, but from there are lots of little negatives. We found that the sound card isn't really properly Sound Blaster Pro compatible. We're getting mono sound output only. The only way to get stereo sound effects is if the game supports the Windows Sound System standard. The sound card doesn't have an MPU 401 MIDI interface, so that means you can't use an external sound canvas, you can't use a Dream Blaster, a wavetable board, for example. Someone out there might spend a lot of money trying to find one of these OPL4 modules just to be disappointed that it doesn't work under DOS. Now, not having the MPU 401 MIDI interface might be something that you're actually looking for because you want to pair this sound card with a dedicated MPU 401 MIDI interface, but in general, I believe most of you will want to attach some sort of a MIDI device. And finally, the software is a little bit harder to use than it should be, and that's mostly finding the correct drivers for your sound card. I have uploaded them all to our website just to make your life a little bit easier. I also didn't like those TSR drivers for the volume. Firstly, they didn't work properly. They take away a few kilobytes of your memory, and it should just be a little bit easier with just some command line options when you initialize the sound card. So there you have it, guys. That was the review of the BTC 1820 sound card with the Oak Mozart audio chip. Let me know what you think of the sound card. Maybe you own one, maybe you've used one in the past. As always, if you found this video useful and you want to see more sound card reviews, be sure to give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and click on that notification bell. And that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I shall see you soon with another one.